Good morning, YouTube. It's Beck here from Curated. It's Saturday in the shop. I'm only in by myself today. I expect it to be quiet. Hopefully not as quiet as the last Saturday I showed you, which I think was the quietest day we've ever had in store. Always going to be the way if you choose to video something. But it's good to see an authentic look at small business. Now, I think it's going to be quiet for a couple of reasons. It is Black Friday season, so people are spending their money in that. It's always quiet in this kind of a business around Christmas time because people, instead of buying things for their own work, like for patchwork, they are spending money on their loved ones for Christmas gifts. And why else is it quiet? Because in our little, like in Newcastle, in central Newcastle, there's another patchwork shop and they're closing down, which I think is a massive shame. I think they're just really ready to go. They've been running that for a long time. So, good for them. But that means they've reduced all their fabric really cheap, and it means that, if you're buying fabric, you'll go and check there first if you're local, because why not get a bargain if you can? And that will make it quieter in my shop until that happens, I guess, until they close down. I think it's a shame because one of the reps recently told me that they thought that 70% of physical shops would close down. They're not them personally, they're I think fabric wholesalers are thinking that 70% of fabric shops will, like physical ones, will close down in the next 5 years, which, that's a little bit worrying for me as somebody that's only opened mine like 3.5, I think, years ago. But I guess support your local fabric shop if you've got one. Go in, see the fabric, buy something. I always think that even when you've got a big stash, adding a couple of little bits of fabric just makes it fresh and new. And I was talking to a lovely customer yesterday, and she said that she'd been to a quilt show recently, and she's been quilting a long time, and she's quite prolific. And when she was at the quilt show, she just saw all the quilts made with fabrics from 5-10 years ago, and people are maybe not buying so much fabric because they've got big stashes, but that's why, as an industry, we need to be very welcoming of new, younger quilters, because they are the future of patchwork, and also like keeping kind of creative spaces alive, I guess. I feel like when I started quilting, I was 30, and I just had my first baby, and I really wanted to make her beautiful things. And I remember the patchwork shops being very dismissive of me at that point because I wasn't the right demographic. There was no YouTube. There was nowhere else to get information. Nobody around me was making quilts. And so I learnt by lots of mistakes because I didn't have the money all the time, because, then I proceeded to have 4 children and I was working as well. I didn't have the time to go to a lot of classes, and so when they weren't welcoming, I had to work it out for myself. And I think that's changed. I know we're really welcoming of young people, and we teach a beginner's class, and we try and help people lean into learning patchwork. And I hope that's most patchwork shops now. I think the tide has changed on that. But anyway, all this to say, it's probably going to be a quiet morning. I always go off on a tangent. I'm really sorry. You probably hate just hearing me rant. I'm going to show you what I'm doing in the shop this morning. And I'll just say that in the last 2 days, we released our classes that Lucy and I are teaching in the shop for the next 6 months or so. Now, some of those have done amazingly well. Like the quilt retreat sold out really quickly. A couple of, Lucy's zipper pouch class is nearly sold out, I think. So if you were interested in that, get on it. reimagining quilts, quilt technique workshops, they're going well. Nobody wants to do my, sorry, there's a little moth, my needlebook course or textile collage, which I'm quite intrigued by. Perhaps they're kind of expensive comparatively because they involve full kits and the kits are extensive, and I always find when people come to a class like that, they really want to gather a lot of stuff to put in there. Like they're not getting a kit like I put together for sale where I've curated it. They're choosing whatever they want to put into their project. So maybe that's why, maybe I've done them before and they're not popular, although lots of people have asked me about when I'm doing them next. So, if you're thinking about doing it, make me feel a little bit better that people do want to do my classes. And so I'm getting, I just printed out last night's orders. We were on top of everything when Emma and I left yesterday, and then that's what's coming overnight or this morning. And I am also going to be working on, I'm going to turn you around and show you. So I'm just walking over to the other side of the shop. This is our beautiful workshop area. And I have been putting together some little needlebook kits, like they're partly together, and I was going to do some smaller. So normally we do quite a big quilter's workbook. So this is a beautiful quilt piece that I have, and these are cutter pieces. So there you can see, so if that were me working with that, that's where I'd added extra textile to add some kind of, to make sure that it's firm and not going to fall apart. Sorry, there's some drama out the front of the shop. And then I was just putting together some smaller ones as well, but not with just some quilt pieces and quilt blocks. So if you've already got a selection of lovely things that you want to use, they might be, and you just don't have the quilt or the quilt blocks, they might be something that's suitable for you. And then little needlebook kits. So these ones are they're on the smaller side. So I'll just show you where I'm up to with this one, for instance. So a little piece of quilt, a little piece of blanket. There's one doily with it so far, or like a sandwich tray, and a couple of yo-yos, but other things will be added into that. And, working with those. There's a couple of larger needlebook kits as well, like this quilt, just look at the inside of that. Is that not just so stunning? So I'll hopefully get those finished this morning and maybe even get photographs taken of them. And that's where we're up to. So that's what I'm doing today. I probably won't fill any orders unless I will check on the system. So you have to check on 2 systems to find out if we've got any express orders. And if I do, I will fill those. And the shop is super full of fabric. These are beautiful Riley Blakes and 1930s under here that have just come in the last couple of weeks. Some beautiful lower volumes. These Japanese stripes, they're expensive because they're a woven, a dyed woven, which is always really expensive, but gosh, they are beautiful. I kind of want to make a quilt just with them. That'd be pretty stunning, actually. We've got to finish some other things first. And then some brighter ones down here, which are Anna Maria and also Jennifer Paganelli. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Gingham cupboard needs to be straightened up a little bit. The shelves are looking nice and full. So this is where we're at. We've also had a top up. I know people after Gosling quilt templates and papers, they're back in stock if that's you. And so this is where we're at. And I'm also starting really, so we've got 2 months till we're doing some Liberty events. So we've got to get those products kind of sorted and kitted, I guess, for that event. And we have a little Christmas window over here. So I better go because I need to open up the shop in about 10 minutes. So it's now 11:30 and I have literally had lots of people through the shop. And I pulled these out really quickly because I need to load a pram in first thing. And I just thought I'd show you the front of the shop, which is actually, the windows are really dirty. I'm not sure where our window man has gone, but so little Christmas display here with some Christmas fabrics. And just some fun bits and pieces, and my kitchen sink quilt there, Betsy Sawtooth Star. That's my chicken cushion that you can't really see the chicken, so I better go and correct that. Happy Clappy cushion, that is the vintage orange peel cushion in the front there, and then sunshine cushion down the bottom here, and some bits and pieces. And I haven't done anything on those bundles that are on the table in there because I've just had customers, which is wonderful. So it's now 2:15 on Saturday. The shop shuts at 1 and it was busy in the store this morning. So contrary to what I thought, I think about $900 was spent on and some cash, and I'm not really sure how much. And online's been okay, like pretty good. And so I was busy with customers most of the morning, and then there was one quiet patch when my window guy, after my What's Wrong With Our Windows turned up, and I was quiet, can you come and do the inside? And then there were so many people that arrived while he was cleaning the windows, and we had to, lock the front door and open it for people to come in and out because he was doing both sides of the glass door. Anyway, I've now been for lunch with my husband and son, and then my youngest son, who still wants to do stuff with us. And then Otts is going to a birthday party, and then I'm going to go home. But I did not get through any of the little bundles that I was doing, but I thought I might show you where I am up to with them. And if you can hear something weird, I'll show you what that is in a sec. So there's Emily over there on the ground. She's our little robot, and she's cleaning, but I have actually just cleaned all over there because I mopped the floors under the windows after the window guy came, because he actually did my top story windows as well inside, but he can't do the outside because there's an awning in that bit there. So I don't know, we can't ever seem to get them coordinated, so front and back is done at the same time. But at least the inside of the shop is nice and clean with the windows, and the lower story is clean front and back. So lights are off in the shop, so it's probably looking a little bit dark because, and it's about to storm outside. I was just going to show you, all I am going to do is a couple of quilt piece bundles and quilt block bundles. So if people are wanting those beautiful things, maybe for a quilter's workbook, maybe for whatever project they're going to be working on. I'm working on a new secret project at the moment with Slow Stitch. And then I have down the back here, that is a quilter's workbook that I didn't get any further with, and they take quite a while to put together. And then I've just put all my bundles, which I did make some progress on, but need a few more things in them. So they're there, and a few more over there with some more. I think they need some more embroidered pieces. So I've got my tub of embroidered pieces out, small embroidered pieces, because these are smaller scale books. So hopefully I'll get them done. Probably I might come into the shop on Monday, but I know I have a couple of appointments for myself and also for one of the kids. So that's what I've been doing with quilt blocks. I can't wait to get onto that. That will be my Christmas project of getting that together. There's my reimagined quilt, which, you know, seems to be very popular at the moment. I'd been making that for years and years. So, and then some people saw it and then they've decided to do their own, I guess. The irony of that is not lost on me, but this is what this side of the shop with all the vintage bits and pieces is looking like at the second. So I've got some tubs of quilt blocks and there's some bits and pieces of yo-yos. Quilt blocks are getting more and more expensive to source and harder to find. So I just turned you around to say bye. Happy stitching, happy weekend. I'm going to be working on my new quilt this weekend, hopefully, and having a swim in the sea. I hope you're going to have a fantastic weekend too. See you later. Thanks for being here.